Scene script, picture this. A grandfather, a pillar of the family, but with a dark secret. He cheats on his wife, my grandmother, with another woman. Let's delve into the heart of the matter. The grandfather, the supposed patriarch, the supposed paragon of virtue, had a clandestine side that was nothing short of scandalous. He was unfaithful to his first wife, my dear grandmother, with another woman. This was a man who was looked up to, respected, and adored by his family. But beneath the veneer of respectability, he was a man who could not keep his vows, a man who betrayed the trust of his loved ones. The shock that reverberated through the family was immeasurable. It was like a bolt from the blue. The man they thought they knew, the man they had placed on a pedestal, was not who they believed him to be. The sense of betrayal was profound, the hurt was deep, and the disappointment was hard to bear. But the tale of his infidelity did not end there. In an almost predictable pattern of behavior, he repeated the same transgression in his next marriage. Yes, he married the woman he had cheated on my grandmother with, only to cheat on her with yet another woman. It was as if he was caught in a loop of deceit and betrayal, unable to break free. And then he married for the third time, this time to the woman he had been unfaithful to his second wife with. It seemed like he was caught in a never-ending cycle of deceit, a cycle that he was either unwilling or unable to break. And now, in a twist of fate, his current wife cheats on him. Karma, as they say, has a wicked sense of humor. The unfaithful patriarch, who had caused so much pain and heartbreak, was now on the receiving end of the same. It was a fitting end to his tale of infidelity, a reminder that what goes around indeed comes around. Now, let's shift our gaze to my grandmother, a woman with sharp edges and a biting tongue, especially when it comes to her son's choice of partners. This is a woman whose prejudices run deep. She carries a bias against Hispanics, a bias that has led to a rift in her relationship with her own son. Her son, my uncle, is a man of defiance and rebellion. He's the kind of man who has driven cars into houses while inebriated, a man who has chosen to marry not one, but two Hispanic women, each act a slap in the face of his mother's prejudice. But here's where the story gets interesting. Despite the hostility, the disagreements, and the outright rejection of her son, my grandmother has formed an unlikely bond with the very women she once looked down upon. She's become best friends with her son's Hispanic wives, a twist of irony that's as baffling as it is intriguing. When it comes to her son, my grandmother's heart seems to be encased in a shell of prejudice and intolerance. Yet when it comes to the women her son loves, she's able to overlook their ethnicity, to see beyond the color of their skin. It's a contradiction that's hard to wrap your head around, a contradiction that's a testament to the complexity of human nature and familial relationships. My uncle's defiance, his refusal to conform to his mother's expectations, has led to an estrangement that's hard to mend. But in a strange way, it's also given my grandmother something she didn't expect, a friendship that transcends cultural barriers, a friendship that's come from the most unlikely of sources. In another ironic twist, the son she disowned has given her the closest thing to a daughter she's ever had. Now, meet the next generation, carrying the family's legacy of chaos and confusion. My cousin, a young woman with a penchant for danger and a mystery baby daddy. Her story is a wild ride, much like the ones she's taken in her father's gifted convertibles. She's a chip off the old block, you could say, with a history of reckless behavior that mirrors her father's. But unlike the old man, she's not just driving into houses while inebriated. She's driving into the unknown, her path shrouded in secrets and uncertainty. You see, she's a mother now, a young mother with a child who's innocent to the world's hardships. But there's a mystery that hangs heavy in the air, a question mark that lingers. Who is the father of her child? She keeps that information locked away, a secret she guards with a fierce determination. It's a decision that has left the family in a state of concern and frustration. This isn't a soap opera, folks. This is real life, where actions have consequences and secrets can't stay buried forever. Her choices, her mistakes, they're not just her own anymore. There's a child involved now, an innocent life caught in the whirlwind of her chaos. She's young, yes, and life is a journey of learning and growing. But how much longer can she keep up this reckless dance? How much longer before the music stops and she has to face the reality of her decisions? The family watches, waits, and worries. They've seen this pattern before, this cycle of chaos and confusion. They know the cost, the toll it takes, but they're powerless, left to hope that she'll find her way, that she'll break free from this legacy that seems to have a vice-like grip on their lineage. Who knows what secrets she's keeping? Only time will tell. But for now, we watch, we wait, and we hope for a better tomorrow. For her child, and for this family that has seen more than its fair share of turmoil. On the other side of my family tree, we've got a whole different kind of drama. A bipolar grandmother, a mother scorned, and a father convinced the world's against him. Picture this, a grandmother with a heart as turbulent as a stormy sea. One minute she's smiling, the next she's spitting venom. Most of her scorn is reserved for my mother. Why, you ask? Well, if I knew the answer to that, I'd probably be a psychiatrist instead of a storyteller. Now, this grandmother had a sister, a woman who experienced the kind of loss that can shatter your soul into a million pieces. Her son, my cousin, took his own life, a tragedy that has left a permanent scar on our family, the kind of wound that never quite heals, you know? And then there's my father, a man who's been playing the professional field like a game of musical chairs for the better part of a decade. Every job is a battlefield, every employer an enemy in disguise. He's convinced they're all out to get him. It's a classic case of paranoia, if you ask me. But wait, there's more. Whenever things go south, guess who's the scapegoat? My mother. Apparently, being a successful, independent woman is synonymous with being an underminer in his book. He claims she revels in his failures, as if the woman who bore his children, who stood by him through thick and thin, would take pleasure in his downfall. It's absurd and heartbreaking all at once. This side of the family is a labyrinth of complex emotions, tangled relationships, and deep-seated resentments. There's blame flying left, right, and center. There's loss that's etched so deep it's become a part of our identity. And there's resentment, bubbling under the surface, threatening to erupt at any moment. It's a twisted web of blame, loss, and resentment. But that's family for you, isn't it? In this family, we've got more than our fair share of secrets, scandals, and skeletons in the closet. This saga has been a whirlwind of deceit and despair. From the patriarch's unfaithful endeavors to the racist grandmother's unfathomable friendships, from the troubled niece's reckless behavior to the job-hopping father's perpetual blame game, the narrative has been nothing short of a soap opera. Each event, each scandal, each secret has etched deep emotional trenches into the family fabric. The unfaithfulness has sown seeds of mistrust, and the persistent racism has driven wedges between loved ones. Meanwhile, the reckless behaviors have left a trail of worry, and the constant blame has fostered resentment. These circumstances have shaped and molded relationships within the family in ways that are both profound and complex. Bonds have been strained, alliances have been formed, and friendships have blossomed in the most unlikely places. The family dynamic is a chaotic tapestry of love, hate, misunderstanding, and acceptance. As we reflect on these experiences, it's important to understand the lessons that can be gleaned from them. The patriarch's story tells us that deceit only leads to more deceit. The grandmother's tale reminds us that prejudice can cloud our judgment and harm relationships. The niece's journey underscores the importance of responsibility and accountability, and the father's odyssey reveals that blame is a toxic game that benefits no one. These experiences, as chaotic and tumultuous as they may be, provide a unique perspective on family dynamics. They show us that families aren't always picture perfect. They fight, they argue, they hurt each other, but they also love, they forgive, and they move forward. In the end, we're all products of our families, for better or worse. And if there's one thing I've learned from mine, it's that there's no such thing as a normal family.